Hello and welcome to In the Clear, the only show that was inspired by the audio recording of the FitnessGram Pacer test. I'm your host, Tom Stark, and y'all, we made it to the end of season 2. First off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has watched this far and helped to make us feel more important than we are. We have an excellent episode for you tonight, and a few announcements about season 3. Damian, better known as the Cave of Crafting, swung by, and we wanted to end this one on a high note with another Building a Better World. Also, remember to like and subscribe to stay in the loop, and make sure you don't miss out on any of the circus act that is my monologue usually. Now, let's get to it. That's Damian. He has an awesome page where he makes miniatures. He and I sat down to talk about his process, his favorite materials, and his inspirations. We filmed it, edited it, and were kind enough to share it with you, allegedly for free. Hello everybody, I'm here with Damian. He runs a page called Cave of Crafting. Damian, how you doing today?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you for asking. So you make these really awesome, miniature style. They look a lot like D&D tabletop stuff. That's why I got into watching your page.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask how you got into it.
Well, you're exactly right. Tabletop gaming, Dungeons and Dragons, almost exclusively, really was sort of the draw. And I mean, met a bunch of kids in junior high that were playing, and I got into playing, and so of course it started there. And at that time, we didn't have. I mean, we it was what they call theater of the mind mostly. So you had your character on a sheet, and your DM has the story, and you go through the game. And minis wasn't even like on our radar. And then slowly things started coming in, and we got our hands on some of those old like pewter or even like some lead miniatures. And for terrain at that time, we were just mostly just whatever packing materials we could get our hands on. So big chunks of styrofoam that we'd bang and color with markers or whatever. So that was like that seed planted. I always was into RPGs, tabletop RPGs, and really drawn to the miniature part. Then I really wanted, I sort of all my life, I think, have become increasingly more obsessed with building miniature worlds. So yeah, I mean, it's really been an on and off my whole life, being into D&D, and B, wanting to build terrain for those games. Later, in high school especially, I became obsessed with photography as well, and I really am into tableau photography, or miniature tableau photography. So this desire to build minis for gaming sort of moved into wanting to build miniature worlds to photograph, just for my own personal joy.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what gets me to where I am today, both wanting to just take pictures of small things and build gaming terrain.
I like that was a very progressive. It wasn't like one day you were just like, oh, this is what I want to do. A very humble start from literal styrofoam to very detailed pieces.
Very low rent. It was not good stuff, but it was a very organic process. Yeah, it wasn't just like suddenly, and I met a lot of other builders along the way. So as I got into more gaming, I met other people, older guys, hung out with not a lot of, I shouldn't say, but there were a few people in my life, older train people, who were building miniature models for their train sets. And so I was gleaning a lot of tips, like how to get good looking grass and how to get good looking dirt on the side of a building, those kinds of techniques for getting realism. I was really picking up a lot from the train guys.
What has your favorite project been so far that you've done?
And that's my favorite project so far. And it's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's always the one I'm working on at the moment. That's just honest truth. I enjoy finishing a piece, but it's a little heartbreaking because it's really the making that I enjoy the most. That's really it. So I'm working on several things right now. I just finished, if you look at my TikTok or my Instagram, You'll see several of my past projects. I did a little, last two series I did this Wizard's Chamber, which I really enjoyed intensely. I made a cool little secret passage behind the bookcase. It was fun. And I also built this little fairy house, which I kind of had never done before, something very whimsical and sort of cute. And I did enjoy both of those intensely. But honestly, it's the process that I enjoy the most. So whatever I'm working on my next series coming out is going to be I'm building a dice tower, and I've been into it. I was into it all day yesterday, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's actually awesome. The fairy house in particular, I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
The siding on the house was incredible. The roofing, like every piece of it was well thought out.
And it's sold, so if I had it, I'd show you. But yeah, that's the thing. It's the little things. So even within the process, almost all of my builds start with some sort of a structure that you won't even ever see again. It's just the framing that I'm going to veneer on all that detail. And then that's fine. I enjoy that part of the engineering piece, if you will. But then it's all the like, how do I build up those layers of detail? I want my stonework. On top of that, I want my like dirt and grime. And on top of that, I want plant life growing. And then maybe something in the foreground. And the building up those layers of detail are what I really enjoy the most. It's very satisfying.
So before you get to the detail phase, like how long is your planning phase on something? Do you even go through a planning phase? Do you just start somewhere and you're like, I'll do this as I'm working on it?
Like, it depends on the piece. Sometimes I really do. I'll go do research. I'll get some. I'll look up like reference art that I want to build from. If you go back quite a ways, I built a little trebuchet model. I really needed a trebuchet piece of art, a reference photo that I could look at because I had zero clue about the engineering of how that functions. But it's mostly just I have an idea in my head that I want to do, and I don't do a lot of sketching. I definitely don't draw up any schematics or anything. I do know some crafters who do that. There's another channel. I follow several YouTube channels, but one in particular, Tabletop Witchcraft. He is like an engineer, I think, and he draws up full-on schematics and blueprints, and it's amazing, but outside of my skill set. So my planning is mostly I want to build this, and then I start building it. So sometimes it's a complete disaster that way, but more often than not, it works out the way I want it to. And very often, it works out far better than I had hoped. But as far as the planning goes, I'm not very methodical. I just have something in my head, and then the most sort of physical I get is like, again, I'll look up some reference art. I do have plans at some point to begin building Jorviskar from Skyrim, which is where the companions all live, and it's going to be a huge, very intensive build. So I have been doing a lot of research. I have shots of that from all sides and the inside, and I really want to try to create that, build that in physically.
And I'm assuming you're going to do that as a series as well, because that's going to be some time.
I think possibly not a TikTok series, though. I had my patron live yesterday, and I was talking to them about it. So I'm thinking I might do like a series. I'm going to make a longer series and put that up on YouTube, because I do have a YouTube channel. It's a little less successful than my TikTok, but yeah, I think that might be too big for the TikTok audience. It would take
more
time. Yeah.
Yep. What advice would you give to somebody looking at this, like beyond just the simple tutorials? Like they want to start this, but they don't know where to begin even.
Sure. And I get that question. That's one of the most common questions I get in my comments section. So first of all, the focus of my TikTok channel really is about helping people get into the hobby. My channel is almost exclusively tutorials, and it's all super basic stuff that really anybody who can get their hands on a few simple tools can do. So that is the heart and soul of the Cave of Crafting, is really showing people how simple it is to get into the hobby if you're interested. I do have some playlists there. TikTok just added this playlists option, and I created a basic tools and equipment playlist and a good projects for beginners playlist. And when people comment, I say, first of all, those are two great playlists of mine to check out. And then go check out my YouTube channel and see all the channels I follow. So I follow a lot of other great crafters who also have a lot of great content. But my biggest piece of advice, which is a sort of a separate question, would be do not ever worry about what someone else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Be where you are now, do what you can do now, work on what you're able to do in the moment, at this moment. Because, if you're trying to achieve what someone who's been doing it longer is, you'll just be dissatisfied. You'll be frustrated. So just get into it. Just start today and make terrible mistakes. Make a gigantic mess. Embrace the mess. That's the best advice for really trying anything new, is to embrace the mistakes and start again. Just
I
keep starting.
wholeheartedly agree. It's how you learn. I have one more question for you. You just actually gave me during that.
Oh,
Do you have a favorite tool you use? I find a lot of people do, but no matter what you do, cooks or engineers.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, favorite, I mean, most useful. I don't know if you can see it behind me here, but this is the Proxxon. Just tilt this a little bit. This is the Proxxon hot wire cutter. It's just basically a table that has a wire, runs about 5 inches vertically, and it has a charge that runs through it and gets hot and cuts the foam. Now, I've shown everyone on my channel that if you get a good metal carpenter square and a good sharp knife, you can do almost all of what I do. Really, there's a very simple ways to do it. But that hot wire cutter, I mean, it kind of operates like a table saw or like a jigsaw, so I can cut and shape the foam for my projects very quickly and easily. So of all my tools, it's the one, besides my glue gun, that get the most use. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all your time and answering the questions.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
He was awesome. I said it. Let the adjective gods be mad at me. He just was, and it was a great time. We talked a little more off camera about some of the projects he has coming up, and guys, keep checking it out. His work is really impressive, and you can gain a ton of useful crafting skills on his page for other projects that you might be working on too. This is Building a Better World, the segment about why things could be better and what people are doing to make them that way. Today, we wanted to turn your attention to TooGoodToGo.org. Too Good To Go is a group dedicated to cutting down on food waste. 1/3 of all food is wasted, and guys, that is way too much. With the amount of people starving, food is definitely something that shouldn't be just thrown away like a ticket to a really bad movie. Like really bad. I mean like Shyamalan bad. No, this group makes food waste profitable. You can sign up as a business owner to sell your unused goods and therefore make a profit and cut down on your waste simultaneously. So, say you run a donut shop. You could be the slumdog millionaire of Bear Claws, the Baron of Boston Creams, the king of frosted...
All right, we get it.
Okay, fair. It's probably for the best anyway because I am running out of donut titles. As a consumer, the site shows you unsold goods near you, instead of going on the usual 2 a.m. trip to Taco Bell for another cheesy gordita crunch, which I too am guilty of, but much less now. The site also features a ton of useful tools and articles that help you plan your food use, cut down on waste, and do something worthwhile for the planet. All in all, it's a great idea and it should definitely be something you know about. We wanted to take a minute to discuss the future of the show with you, the viewers of the show. We've gained a lot of traction this season, and we're hoping to gain even more. We want to thank everyone who's helped us make it this far, and to all of our milestones. We hit 50 subscribers this season. We had one of our videos reach 1,000 views. To some people, this isn't huge, but to our small channel, it means a lot. We did want to announce that going forward, for the foreseeable future, we will have a set schedule. That's right, we can actually plan ahead, which is crazy considering all the technical difficulties we've had this week. We're coming back on November 5th, so remember. And it's good news that it's this year, because if we beat 100 subscribers before the end of the year, I get my milkshake and Keanu might consider stopping by. Finishing up on a great season and a great summer, we're ending with 2 types of people. We're keeping to the summer theme for one more time. We want to know, when it comes to going camping, do you prefer camping in a camper or setting up a tent? Vote, as always, in the poll on Twitter, and let us know what you prefer. Well, everyone, that about does it for the show for the season. Again, big thanks to everyone who watched, liked, and supported the show through the year. And a bigger thanks to all those who sat down to have an interview with us. We started producing episodes just over a year ago, and we hope you all enjoyed watching the episodes as much as we enjoyed messing around and having fun making them. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, tip your waitress, and we'll see you back here next season.